Hey friends and family, I'm JT. I am a YouTuber from New York City and I'm quarantining here in Roca, Nebraska with my parents. My dad is an infectious disease specialist, Dr. Tyler Martin. Hi Dad.
Hey, Jader.
Do you want to tell us what it is that you're working on?
Our company is called Adjuvants Technologies, and we work on vaccine adjuvants. And adjuvants are things you add to a vaccine to enhance the immune response, so whatever target the vaccine is made towards.
Okay, so in reference to your post about, and I might mispronounce this, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine being approved, Leslie Cotter asks, what does it do as a treatment? Does it attack the virus or treat the symptoms?
Great questions, Leslie. Let me first explain what viruses are. So viruses are little pieces of RNA or DNA wrapped up in a coat that actually aren't living organisms. They're just little pieces of nucleic acid. And the way that they replicate is they have to get inside a cell. They steal that cell's machinery to make copies of themselves, which then that cell spits out new little pieces of RNA or DNA. The way that chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine work is that they contaminate a compartment within a cell that the virus wants to replicate in. And they make it so that the virus can no longer replicate in that compartment. And as a result, that decreases the amount of virus. So they don't actually attack the virus. They make a part of the cell where the virus wants to move through inhospitable to the virus.
Okay, so Nancy Prater asks, I read that in China, someone who had COVID-19 tested negative, then recovered, and is now testing positive again. So is that a failure of the tests, or is it more like malaria where it can come back and keep on going?
Great question, Nancy. The initial tests that are being used and that were being used in China are tests for the presence of this nucleic acid in the secretions of the patient that was infected. So it's possible to be infected but not have the virus in the particular secretions that were sampled when the sample was taken. So we would call that a false negative. The situation you're describing here, where somebody had the disease but tested negative, is most likely due to a false negative like that one. Now, it's also possible, because the symptoms of influenza are very much like the symptoms of COVID-19, that one might have had influenza. And if you did, you will not test positive for SARS-CoV-2. So maybe they did or didn't have COVID-19. If they did have it, they could have tested negative just because the sample that was taken lacked the genetic material that is required to have the test be positive. You can, though, secrete virus for a long time after you've been infected. And so if they do a second sample from the same person and this time happen to get a secretion that does contain virus, then that would be one way that you could then test positive later, even though you test negative early. Now, we also have in this country new tests that look for the presence of antibodies. And with an antibody, early in the infection, very, very early in the infection, you may not have made antibodies yet, but soon after infection, and then for the rest of your life, you will have antibodies in your blood. So that antibody test is a way to very clearly determine whether somebody has ever had SARS-CoV-2. But if you're very early in the infection process, it might be missed.
Last question. Okay, so Craig Aubrey, what's up, Coach Aubrey, asks, what is your perspective on how many cases we're going to find out about, and how long will it take to define the extent of the cases?
So, Craig, it's hard to answer that question. I expect that we're going to have increasing cases for many more weeks, potentially months. And then it's hoped that as we get to the summer and people are a little bit more spread out, that the case rate will go down, but that it may climb again next winter as we all start to huddle up together again. You know, for most infectious diseases, let's take, for instance, a virus like the chickenpox virus. Almost all of us eventually get infected by the chickenpox virus. And so when you think about a virus entering into a group of people, almost everyone will get it if it's an easy to spread virus like it appears that SARS-CoV-2 is. So I expect most of us will eventually get it. The question is, will we get it this year, next year, some other year? And we don't know the answer to that.
Dad, thanks so much for doing this. If you have a question for Dr. Martin, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. If you see a question in there that you like, give it a thumbs up so that we know that more people are asking that same question. And we'll hopefully do these videos every couple days or so. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dad.